In early 2026, the federal government pointed its entire legal apparatus directly at Harvard University. Within a matter of weeks, the campus was hit with a concentrated barrage of federal lawsuits. The Trump administration moved fast. The initial filings landed on February 13th, followed by a massive escalation of charges on March 20th. This was a rapid, aggressive deployment of legal force. This level of immediate pressure goes far beyond standard bureaucratic wrangling. The administration launched a coordinated legal siege, deliberately structured to overwhelm the legal defenses of the wealthiest academic institution on Earth. This strategy demonstrates that even a $50 billion endowment, once considered an impenetrable wall, now serves as a high-value target for enforced federal compliance. The official justification came directly from Attorney General Pam Bondi. Her office launched deep investigations into Harvard's diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, alongside severe allegations of Title VI violations regarding antisemitism on campus. The administration has bypassed requests for internal policy shifts, moving straight to a demand for the total revocation of all federal funding to the university. By threatening the money supply directly, the government has escalated a campus culture war into a campaign of financial weaponization. The target is the operational independence of higher education. The difficulty with freezing federal money is that it doesn't touch Harvard's private wealth. Those federal grants and contracts are separate pools of taxpayer dollars designed to serve the public. We are looking at an immediate halt on public-facing initiatives. This money is the lifeline for medical research into cancer and Alzheimer's and national defense studies. Then there is the direct human cost. Freezing Pell Grants immediately removes financial support for lower-income college students. While Harvard as an institution can weather the storm, the actual pain of this political standoff falls squarely on the public waiting for medical breakthroughs and the students who rely on federal aid. While the initial strike hit Cambridge, the legal blast radius quickly expanded. The administration began applying this exact same pressure campaign to universities across the country. Some systems chose to fight the government in court. San Jose State and the wider California State University network actively pushed back against the incoming lawsuits. Others moved to settle to protect their funding. Columbia University agreed to the administration's demands, triggering immediate backlash and protests from their own faculty. The resulting chilling effect has paralyzed the rest of the elite academic ecosystem. Schools like Yale, institutions like MIT, and Princeton University are standing on the sidelines, watching to see how the early battles shake out. If the country's most well-resourced legal team fails to hold this line at Harvard, the remaining universities will find themselves facing a tested and proven blueprint for federal takeover. At the center of this standoff is a constitutional principle that American universities have operated under for nearly 400 years, the concept of academic freedom. By weaponizing federal grants, the government is bypassing standard legislative oversight. They are proving they can dictate what is researched and taught by holding a university's operational money hostage. If this maneuver holds up in court, it establishes a tool for politicians on both sides of the aisle. Any future administration could unilaterally defund academic programs they happen to ideologically oppose. Without that financial independence, universities lose their ability to act as open centers of exploration. They instead become vulnerable tools of state compliance, forced to align their research with whoever holds power in Washington. As of June 2026, the situation has devolved into a legal stalemate. Even after a federal judge issued an initial ruling against the government's tactics, the administration simply appealed the decision and filed a fresh wave of lawsuits. Harvard continues to refuse compliance, vowing to use its endowment to sustain the legal fight for as long as the courts will allow. The final ruling in this standoff will set the binding precedent for how much control the state can exert over the classroom through the power of the purse. The first side to break will establish the new boundaries of American education. Over nearly 4 centuries, Harvard University has navigated through the Revolutionary War, the McCarthy era, and massive Vietnam protests. But in 2026, the institution entered a legal war against the government of the country it helped build. The escalation moved with startling speed. Following a December 2025 appeal, the Department of Justice filed a lawsuit on February 13, 2026, alleging Harvard violated grant terms by withholding data from an admissions investigation. Attorney General Pamela Bondi stated the DOJ would continue fighting to put merit over DEI across America, claiming the university failed to disclose data necessary to ensure admissions were free of discrimination. The velocity and federal origin of these filings signal a departure from standard political friction. This is a coordinated attempt at institutional leverage. On March 20th, the administration added another layer to the offensive, filing a lawsuit alleging the university showed deliberate indifference to antisemitism. The government is now seeking a maximum penalty, the complete termination and rescinding of every dollar of federal funding. While the administration frames the case as a civil rights necessity, Harvard's lawyers describe it as an unconstitutional attempt to force a legal do-over using the same debunked assertions. The debate over specific allegations masks the mechanical reality of the siege. The government is utilizing a $3 billion financial threat to secure total compliance. Federal grants are often misunderstood as a direct enrichment of the university. In practice, this is public money funding research that serves the entire country. These billions drive specific advancements in infectious disease studies, Alzheimer's research, and the development of new cancer treatments. Freezing this money immediately halts clinical trials and strips resources from the researchers and graduate students who conduct them. By weaponizing the funding pipeline, the government is effectively taking scientific progress and medical patients hostage to ensure a university follows its directives. The threat extends beyond the laboratory and into the financial aid system, specifically targeting Pell Grants and federal student loans. This creates a direct impact on the student body. A first-generation student from a low-income family could lose their place at the university because they can no longer access the aid they were promised. Under this mechanism, students are actively punished and their educations derailed, not for their own conduct, but because their university refused a presidential demand. This strategy is expanding. Both UCLA and the California State University system have described similar federal campaigns to strip funding for refusing to capitulate. In March 2026, San Jose State University went to court to challenge the administration's demands. Not every university is resisting. Columbia University's decision to comply with certain government pressures has triggered an intense internal backlash from its own faculty. Now, administrators at Yale, Princeton, and MIT are watching the fallout, waiting to see if this financial contagion reaches their institutions next. This battle is challenging the core of a 4-century-old American principle: academic freedom. For centuries, the boundary has been clear. A university, not the state, decides what is taught, researched, and explored on campus. The administration's $3 billion freeze is designed to puncture that line, turning any unapproved idea into a direct financial liability for the institution. If the government successfully uses the power of the purse to dictate internal university decisions, it creates a precedent where federal grants can be used to bypass the First Amendment at any school in the country. As of June 2026, the conflict has settled into a stalemate of overlapping lawsuits and appeals, with the administration showing no signs of retreat. Backed by a $50 billion endowment, Harvard is perhaps the only institution capable of sustaining this legal siege until it reaches the Supreme Court. The justices will decide if the federal government has the authority to dictate private university operations, or if an institution can legally say no to the executive branch. The ruling will establish the final cost of institutional independence. For now, the battle belongs to the lawyers, while researchers are left waiting to see if their work survives the fallout.